How did using Pruvit's Chocolate Swirl Ketones improve our keto donuts that Malee and Taylor made? Well, we're going to cover that in today's video because this is part 5 of the little video mini-series here. And make sure to watch this video all the way to the end so you can get all the information. So let's get started.
You had no glucose in your system, so your body could start running on fat for fuel. Or you could do like a marathon.
Run through all your carbs.
People talk about getting their second wind, right? They're like running and then all of a sudden they start to get like tired and stuff, and then all of a sudden they can feel like them break through that wall, and all of a sudden they get that extra set of energy and then they can finish the race. That's what's happening scientifically. You're going into your second wind, is you're switching over from glucose into ketones, burning mode. So that's what's happening. And then the other one is you could fast. Like if you were to fast, people talk about these spiritual experiences they have. Like all of a sudden their mind lightens up and they feel enlightened and they're just clear in their head. That's what's happening, is they've ran through all of it and then now they are in ketosis. That's why I don't feel like groggy, like I'm going through autopilot on the day. I'm actually conscious and aware of what's going on because I'm in ketosis. Like that's what's going on. It's really cool. But that's how you used to been able to do that before. That's just why I really like this stuff, is because this is straight ketones. It's never been invented before till 10 years ago. This was developed for epilepsy by the United States Navy. So what you're drinking when you drink these ketones is it's beta hydroxybutyrate. You don't have to know this, but when your body breaks fat down into ketones, it'll break it down into 3 ketone bodies. It'll go acetone, acetoacetate, and beta hydroxybutyrate. Your liver will make this stuff. Well, that's what's so cool, is this is bioidentical to what your liver already makes when you're in ketosis. So you drink it, no, you don't go into fat burning mode, but you start to act as if you were already in ketosis. You stop craving the carbs and the sugar. You don't crave sugar and you don't crave carbohydrates. All of a sudden, like, you have more energy. You don't have like the energy that's clear up here, but it's like an energy that's here and it will go all day long. Like you don't have like the crash. It's really crazy. Like when I sleep, that's the other cool thing. Like sleeping, I don't, like, I used to like lay in bed and I used to like, my mind used to go 1,000,000 miles an hour just because I don't know, I just couldn't ever sleep, and then I would go in and out of sleep, and then you would wake up and it would be like you'd sleep for like 10 or 11 hours, but it felt like you got like 5, you know? That is glucose. Thank you, glucose. Like if you want to feel like that the rest of your life, just keep eating carbs and sugar. That's what glucose does for you.
Alright.
So I now I only sleep probably 6 or 7 hours, but when I do wake up, I feel rested, I feel awake, I feel alive. It don't take me like an hour or 2 hours to like get out of bed, like, you know. That's what ketosis does for you. You ought to watch this show. It's called The Magic Pill, and it's on Netflix. It's a really good one. But sorry, I went into a lot of stuff there.
How does this work for diabetics who are always been educated to have protein and carb or 4 hours, or, I mean, how does this play into their life?
So yeah, that's a really good question. So with diabetics, right, like it just absolutely astounds me that you are prescribing a patient the same thing that caused your flippin' diabetes in the first place, right? Like,
well, isn't it keeping the sugar level at a certain?
No, because that's the thing, is like your body does not need glucose. I just, yeah, go ahead.
I'm a type 2 diabetic. Last year this time, I was on 2 different injectable insulins and then 2 different insulins that I take by pill. And I started keto this August. I've been monitoring my blood sugar. When I started, for the first maybe month, I was still on like one of my medications, that I take by mouth. And then now, like 4 months later, I take cinnamon every morning. I take a cinnamon capsule every morning, and my blood sugar stays level throughout the day, just with keto. So I was just gonna say, like, for diabetics, I think it is a really good. I mean, if you're type 1 diabetic and you have like really, if you go really, like, if your blood sugar goes really low, you have to be careful with it. I'm type 2, and I never really had lows. I've always had highs. So with that, like, my blood sugar on a regular basis is like 80, 90. So a 90 is high for me now. My highs used to be like 300. So yeah. So it's really, I think keto is amazing for diabetics. If you can work with it and still monitor your blood sugar, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I know it's like very controversial, especially to that. I mean, especially when I'll talk to a doctor or something like that, he'll tell me I'm wrong. I cannot tell you how many people I've given it to, and it's just like had huge effects with. I mean, it's science. Like, it's 9th grade science. I don't have to go to a medical school to know this. Like, when you eat carbs and sugar, body turns that into glucose, immediately goes into the bloodstream. Your pancreas, in order to get the sugar out of your bloodstream, has to produce insulin. It produces a lot of insulin. So why would I give you, like, and then to get it out of the bloodstream, right, is it has to produce lots of insulin? Well, eventually, if you keep spiking your blood sugar, your body has to keep producing insulin. Like, keep giving yourself carbs and sugar. And then all of a sudden your pancreas just gets worn out, says, I cannot do this anymore, and you'll either become type 2 diabetic, where your body just gets resistant to insulin because it's been pumped full of it, and so all of a sudden it takes even more insulin to get the same effect that it used to get, and then it just even ramps up even more, and then eventually your pancreas just gives out and says, I quit, I'm done. And then you become type 1 diabetic because your pancreas doesn't produce insulin anymore, right? So why would I keep on giving my body the same thing that's like causing the problem? I cannot fathom like why I would prescribe a patient like eat more carbs and sugar, like, so you can keep staying where you're at.
Yeah, because you don't want the spikes and drops, so just keep eating it.
Exactly.
But that's what's causing, I mean, it's gonna spike every time you eat it, because every time you eat a sugar or a carb, you need insulin in order to push that glucose into the cells. Otherwise, you're gonna have an issue with that glucose in your blood.
We're also talking about insulin, right? You guys want to know like why your hormones are probably off, like why a lot of people get acne, like why you can't sleep, or like you've got mood changes and people are grumpy and ornery and all kinds of stuff all the time, is because their blood sugar's out of whack, like their hormones are out of whack. Well, insulin is a hormone. It's the main hormone. It's the hormone that controls all other hormones in your body. So if you're constantly spiking your blood sugar and your body's creating way too much insulin, like, it's gonna throw off every other hormone in your body. Like, it just can't like go all together with, you just can't handle all that extra hormone because it throws everything else out of whack. So the trick is to not, be so excessive. And this sounds ludicrous almost, but really anything over 100 carbs is really excessive. That's excessive for the human body, because we were not designed to constantly be running on carbohydrates.
It's crazy because everything has so much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything has become so processed. It's taken out the fiber out of everything, so your fiber slows down the carbs or the sugars in your body. So you need that fiber not only to cleanse your liver or your kidney, your intestinal tract, to push all the the toxins out, but you need that to slow down your blood sugar level. So if you are eating stuff that has no fiber in it, then that's where your blood sugar levels are always spiked, because pasta, white breads, crackers, of course, candy, sugar, cake, and all that, of course, we know, but, you know, just the, you know, you look at any ingredient label and you look at the carb or the sugar content. So since carbs turn into sugar, just like sugar does, you look at the label. Now, if it has a certain fiber amount, you could subtract that from the carbs, because that's exactly the amount that's going to slow those carbs down in the body and not spike your insulin. So the more fiber you can get in your body, which is whole foods, nuts, you know, flaxseed, yeah, all that good stuff that has, you know, large amounts of fiber. And that's one thing that our system, our society, you know, in America, we're missing is the fiber, and then we're getting too much sugar.
Not to mention like how essential it is for your brain, right? So your brain is